It's not easy being a personal guard within mine lady's household.
Really, Nicholas, the window.
When I first came to Eastern Rome, I did so to find mine Varangian birth father, murder him in cold blood, and display his decapitated head upon a pike.
Seriously, Nicholas, it is the most obvious point of entry. That would be better served by announcing their presence at the door.
However, it seems that finding one blonde Varangian guard named Adora is much akin to finding one uncorrupted priest at the Vatican. Unexpectedly impossible.
Having the courtesy to announce thyself would make this a more pleasant interaction all around.
So I released mine rage upon the taverns in Eastern Rome. Capital L Lord knows that there's no shortage of lecherous curs that compel mine sympathy not.
What dost thou say? Should I sever thine other thumb? Ooh, perchance I should throw thine body into the sea with concrete sandals.
However, as it turns out, some of these knaves aren't as useless as a Pythagorean cup in the hands of a king. I was punched in the throat week 1, and now I can only speak in whispers. But fighting be a skill, and my mother raised not a sniveling third prince capable only of whining.
Be grateful my lady Dementia be adverse to murder.
By 2 fortnights of my arrival, I stumbled upon a godless rodent of a man attempting to intimidate the woman that would become mine lady. I dispatched him with ease. Turns out she was the daughter of an elderly viceroy, and as a consequence I acquired my first contract as a guard.
However, have fun holding a knife with thine thumbless hands.
However, my contract is up, and I now have a lead on that bastard Adora. I prefer to stay in Eastern Rome with mine lady forever. However, there is business that must be dealt with. Just the other day, mine sister came to me with the most unusual request. However, that appears to be the status quo as of late. Sister, capital L Lord, what dost thou require? Being the most gracious sister that I am, I initially offered advice of craftsman quality. I spoiled the finest wine in the chaplain's cellar by mistake. Excellent, I shall throw a party for finally getting thy wits about thee. Adora, nay, 'twas an accident. I tripped and it fell to the ground. How, pray tell, was I supposed to deduce that mine sister was still attempting to gain the chaplain's praise? She'd be better served spoiling the integrity of his head with a firm whack from the bottle. I see not how this is mine problem. I wonder, how did thee make thy way into the chaplain's bedchambers to hide thy latest acquisition? Unfortunately, 'twas true, mine sister Mary did leave the chaplain's chambers unlocked so that I could leave a spider within his bedsheets. What can I say? His screams be amusing. That would compel mine action with dirt regarding my previous escapade. Clever girl. I learned from the best. Luckily, I do have mine sources, so surely we will be able to acquire a bottle of the chaplain's bottom-tier vinegar sangria.
Salvete, sisters.
If anyone could match a random wine from a random location on the continent, 'tis our sister Tiffany.
Tiffany, I am glad to see thee.
Oh, dearest Mary. Oh, my bad. Capital S Sister Mary.
The goods, Tiffany.
Always so forward. Here, thy wine.
I thank thee, Tiffany. This must have cost thou much. However will I repay thee?
Nay, 'twas only pocket change, a dupe, from the next town over.
I should have known that bastard chaplain's taste in wine was as corrupted as his liturgical practices. Yet another reason to bring mine own wine for communion. Sir Kyle is bullied only because Sir Kyle is deserving of ridicule. Sir Kyle once inquired as to why the brew in the bowl on the ground tasted sour. I ask thee if a full-grown man should know the difference between a punch bowl and a chamber pot. Sir Kyle was once bitten by the lowercase L Lord's hunting hound. He then proceeded to howl at the moon for 3 months straight. He is still convinced that hounds' bites result in werewolves. He insists, however, that he and he alone be immune. Sir Kyle once volunteered for executioner's duty, and he wore no hood to hide his identity. Instead, he doused himself in holy water and insisted that the Lord would shield his visage. The only thing that needed shielding were the faces of the crowd as we witnessed the most botched execution in all of Shirefordshire's history. 'Twas a busy week for the Laundresses. Sir Kyle once mistook Lady Shirefordshire's underdress as a curtain. This nearly caused an interkingdom incident when he hung it from the window of the guest chambers. Lady Shirefordshire would never be so careless with her affairs, though I would be not surprised if she maintains his employment in case she ever required a scapegoat to explain away such evidence. Sir Kyle is still forbidden from receiving laundry services. It's not mine words, though he be an honorable knight with a desire to be useful, he deserves not mine respect. Mine sisters have become far too comfortable with freely entering mine abode. Adora, I'm staying here. Mine spinster friends banished me from our communal abode. The chaplain be not in town. Oh. Cool. Adora, I'm staying here. Mine wives banished me from our communal dwelling. After moving to the neighboring town of Shireford, thou wouldst think mine sister Margret would be less of a thorn in mine side. Thou wouldst think wrong. Here, make thyself useful and mend mine underdress. Get it ripped off thy figure. Nay, get thy mind away from such debauchery. I tore it whilst taking out mine rage upon a laundry thief. And thou art next if thy sewing needle be not moving in the next few moments. Normally I need not her expertise to fix mine own garments, but if she insists on eating mine provisions and criticizing mine lack of companionship, she shall make herself useful. And then, she says,
If thou wouldst remember to pray for our souls daily, I wouldn't have to say about for multiple indulgences.
I doth said unto her, mine love, there be an altar to a pagan god in the garden. That ship has sailed far beyond the point of indulgences. Regardless, I will say I doth require a new lock upon mine door. Just the other day, I received the most enlightening piece of information from our local scribe. Unfortunately, as a consequence, my sister Tiffany is now on the warpath towards Rome. Tiffany, 'twas simply an ill-advised purchase. You need not return to Rome so quickly. Adora, I compel thee not to hold back mine ambitions. The new blue wimple she had purchased just outside of Rome was said to have been hand-spun of fine materials from nuns at a local convent. However, the local scribe passed on a most enticing bit of information from his wife. Apparently, this is a common scheme involving second-hand fabric, a defective dye lot, and impostor nuns. Tiffany, I beg of thee to be realistic. What intentions doth thou intend to take? Rome be not the rural countryside of Shirefordshire.
Adora, with all the respect that is owed, you know not of Rome. Thy posterior has never left the confines of this county. Mine ambitions be set on theft, with a hint of arson.
The laundry-beating stick be a deadly weapon in mine capable hands. However, hell hath no fury like Tiffany scammed out of a fine silk scarf. At this point, nothing will placate her. We can only hope the damage on her way out is minimized. Right. On thy way out of Shirefordshire, canst thou at least deliver this rosary to our sister Mary?
Of course, I love seeing Sister Mary.
One more thing. The chaplain has been unkind to our sister Mary as of late. Send him our love.
Of course, I'll be sure to pay him a visit.
Thou wilt never tame the storm, only mitigate the damage. Today be a day most glorious, the Shirefordshire pre-harvest jousting tournament. These be the best seats on the lawn, and thou art late. I had to bribe the small French child to save these spots. If I hear complaint from thy lips, I will send thee back to the road into town with a spyglass. If thy delicate ass wanted bench sheets, thou should have been born a noble. I have bet a significant portion of mine excess earnings on Sir Kyle. Right, here be the bracket. We have Sir Ralph and Bowman Richard up next for the semifinals. It may be considered unwise to wager mine excess coin on the town screw-up who cannot distinguish cow parsley from poison hemlock. However, they be in the habit of disappearing into each other's bedchambers and exchanging tokens of affection. Mine prediction be they both trip on the way to the field, gazing longingly into each other's eyes, and are forced to withdraw. All I can say is the capital L Lord works in mysterious ways. I just asked the librarian. I was wrong. They didn't even make it to the field. I tripped down the stairs on the way to breakfast. If my predictions hold true, the final battle shall be between Sir Richard and Sir Kyle. Nay, this be Sir Richard, Bowman Richard be his son. Aye, it be confusing, but this be real life, not some fanciful musings of a bard trying to cover for a discrepancy in their own tale. Despite managing to disappoint every last one of his ancestors with his continued existence, Sir Kyle has managed to prance about life with a degree of luck that would be considered heresy were he a woman. Whatever this may mean for mine dowry, I hope and pray for something interesting to happen. I will say, I never thought Sir Richard would perish due to the wanderings of a rogue cock. I do wonder, though, who allowed the rooster into the jousting ring? Currently, I am making my way across the continent. This means I am passing through Rome. Unfortunately, there were complications. And thou art— Oh, did that hurt? Well, I wanted to drink and have not a discussion about where the real Roman Empire is. But thy useless mouth insisted on provoking me. So, be not surprised when thy ass is introduced to the floor. It may have been easier to bypass Rome on the way to Shirefordshire. However, there is a gift in Rome I wish to acquire for mine lady. And thou shouldst count thyself lucky that thy dagger missed mine collection of Sappho's poetry. Once mine rage calmed to a simmer, I was surprised to find that I recognized the face of the mouthy patron. Wait, art thou Shirefordshire's chaplain? Would be best if thou wouldst leave my sight before I reach the count of 3. 1, 2... That's more like it. It be only mine luck that I ran into not one but 2 familiar faces in Rome.
Addie!
Contrary to the feelings of many, I do not dislike Tiffany.
It's so great to see thee in Roma again.
As to you, is there a reason for thy presence in Rome?
Business.
Oh, of course. However, her voice does engage a twinge of fear in the recesses of mine psyche that fears the tiny 8-legged hellbeast she deals in.
Was that the chaplain I saw running from the tavern as if he were a swine escaping the butcher's block?
Aye, the same.
Wonderful. Good to see him acknowledging his place in society.
I know better than to question the motivations behind Tiffany's business dealings. I prefer to keep her ire locked on more worthy targets.
So what brings thee to Roma?
I was acquiring a gift for mine lady.
Ooh, thy lady.
It be not like that. How now, Adora? Margret has 3 wives. It's not. I suppose they have her too. May I have something stronger? And the wives be also married to each other. I wonder how that— Tiffany.
That be my name, short for Theophania. Wear it out not.
Lady Demencia be just that. A lady. Mine lady, not mine lady.
Respectfully, sister, think me a fool.
Nay, of course not.
What be her favorite poet?
Sappho?
And her favorite Sappho quote?
Someone will remember us, I say, even in another time.
And be those the sensible travel earrings I saw thy lady wear last time we met in Roma?
Mayhaps.
Huzzah! Do tell me about thy lady.
And her beauty be in equal standing to her generosity and her kindness. I care not how much wine was consumed last night. Get thyself off the floor and make thyself useful.
I be without regrets.
Wonderful new sisters, guess whom I met at the gates of Shirefordshire? I know not, be Greg back from his pilgrimage.
Salute, sisters! Guess whom I brought back from Roma?
If it be not Greg, thou canst escort thyself out of mine home. Good morrow, sisters. Margret, ale. Post haste. Still at the mercy of the alewives of Shirefordshire. Still at the mercy of wherever thy quest for vengeance takes thee. Still an antisocial spinster with more gold than happiness filling thy household. Speaking of, how goes thy repressed love life? Accepted Achilles and Patroclus as thine inspiration, or art thou waiting for an Odysseus who's definitely coming back, guys? He's so into me. Unlike thine unacknowledged eccentricities regarding the complexities of attraction, I know whom I hold love for. Huzzah, thou shouldst find Bowman Richard and form the most noble order of the Shirefordshire simps. That be the difference between Bowman Richard and I. There be nothing mediocre about my beloved.
I brought back wine from Roma. Who wants a glass?
2, please.
Please do make it 3.
Oh, do be civil. Ye be sisters, not enemies.
I be not the one doing the antagonizing. So the giant sword be what? A farming tool? She doth have a point, sister. Art thou compensating for something? Perhaps thy lacking breath? Margret, rein in thy language.
I get not why that be an insult.
Are we speaking of this?
I mean, we're all roughly the same size in that regard.
Tiffany!
Would everyone kindly be still and leave mine abode? What has gotten over thyself, sister?
For shame, Adora, where be thy hospitality?
Speak not of hospitality, this be thy childhood home, and would not be mine abode if thou hadst stayed in Shirefordshire instead of chasing multiple wives, or gallivanting off to Roma, or stabbing random men, or running off to a nunnery. So we left. Everyone leaves. Why be that the problem? Do the following names seem familiar to thee? Abigail, Mary Elizabeth, Elizabeth Mary, Mary May, Maybelline, Beatrice. Doth thou not recognize the names of her younger siblings, and that they be absent from mine table?
We assumed they were tending the fields.
Tending the fields? Nay, those fields be no longer ours. Apprenticeships had to be secured by myself for all of our younger sisters in the neighboring city using the funds from the sale of those fields. Mother died, our fathers left us, and mine sisters left town and left me behind to deal with the mess. Adora, just leave by the time I return. The laundry needs checking. I guess they do be small. It be not the fucking time, Margret. It's not easy being a laundress at the Lord's castle. Just the other day, I went to collect the linens from Lady Shirefordshire's chambers, and I walked into a particularly scandalous rendezvous between her and a visiting noble from Shireford. Personally, I was more surprised that she forgot to lock the door, but then I remembered that Sir Kyle accidentally broke the lock a fortnight ago after confusing his chambers with Lady Shirefordshire's and kicking it in. That incident has left the door busted, Sir Kyle's foot broken, and his ego wounded, leading to my current predicament. And despite my initial shock, I simply went in, grabbed the linens on the floor, and left. No sense in delaying my job when rain be prophesized in the foreseeable future. The nobles may excuse their affairs by saying sun's out, buns out. However, some of us work for a living, and if the sun be shining, the laundry be drying. Personally, I would do anything to avoid the obnoxious gang of family members that currently haunt mine home, eat mine provisions, and attempt to coerce me into having an emotional discussion. Mine emotions be sufficiently handled. I will not be home today, Tiffany. Kyle, if thou desires the other foot to remain unwounded, thou will step away from the laundry. I am not coming home until the laundry be clean, Tiffany. I hear the approach, only because I allow it. What doth thou require? Sister Mary requests thy presence at church. And I require a cask of wine that never drains, but like thy request, that be the subject of many a fool's daydreams. I think Tiffany put a spider in Bishop Ferris's robes. Fine. Hey, Adora, before we go, I want to apologize. Thou art not my sister. I'm not sorry that I left. Disregard, thou art my sister. I be not sorry that I left, because I knew I could not stay here. But I am sorry that I consider not thy situation. I'm sorry that the burden of parenting our siblings fell upon thee. But our fathers should have stayed. They should have helped. And that be why I must hunt them down myself, to rid their useless souls from this earth. Thou must realize the contradictions. Thou art compelled not to do anything. Those men threw away the chance to be our fathers. What? Aye, the Norseman especially. He used the opportunity of parenthood to name 2 kids after himself and then saunter away when times were hard. We've already wasted enough time thinking he would eventually love us. Waste not any more time chasing the ghost of vengeance. If the capital L Lord wanted him dead, he'd have put him on a silver platter before us. How can I just let him go when I hear his name every time mine is called? Just change thy name. 'Twould make both our lives easier whenever we find ourselves in the same room. Wow, thou art wise, sister. Someone in this town must be. Wait. Be that who I think it is? Well, I'll be. That do be Andor. Well, do not stand there, he be on a silver platter. Go slaughter our father. Way ahead of thee, sister.